Angeles, even though it's not Los Angeles. So I'm going through my news feed, the pink news. Um, our president is doing what a president does. I would like to reserve my leftist agenda for a second to at least entertain the possibility that despite whatever he was intending, he's starting a conversation that we needed to have anyway. So, gay President Trump, people are going to be upset about his ruling that ICE should target transgender people. But like the EPA, if you really care about something, then you have to take care of that yourself. He isn't banning transgender people from coming into the country. He is empowering ICE to once again ask some difficult questions. Are you here? Are you here illegally? Are you here legally? What are you doing here? It's the worst episode of Are You Being Served? But then there's also the idea that if you're a transgender person, you were here illegally, and you haven't found a job, you hadn't married a person, or somehow just made America function for you, then what are you doing here? Why don't you have that support structure? If gay and transgender people are really upset at this particular ruling, then they need to step up and do what the president is kind of asking them to do. If you're a gay business and you're so upset about this, then you need to start hiring transgender people. There are a lot of gay businesses, bakeries, construction companies. They're owned by gay people. I could talk about doctors' offices that could hire transgender people, could hire transgender people from afar. They have enough money. It's what, $10,000 or so for a work visa for your employee sometimes. But that's a spot that you could fill with anybody. They don't even have to be the public face of your company. You can have transgender people in accounting. This is why I'm always that this is why person, because I have the white chromosome. One of the reasons why I was campaigning for transgender people in the military was because there are so many slots in military service that are just overlooked. Logistics, finance, combat support, transgender doctors. There are so many slots in the military. And yes, I have been sexually abused by the military, but it's a pathway toward something for some people. If anything, they will make you stronger in something. I don't know, or at least make you evaluate your life and realize that you're a fighter. I'm not currently in the military, but I am fighting for the people, not land. A cause, no, just the people. It's really easy to read a story like this and be upset, be super upset because this reaction politics that we do. It's it's a reflex. The president says something and or puts it into law, and our gut reaction is we dislike the president for that, or we dislike the ruling. We never say, okay, it's harder in some aspects, but it's also easier once you realize what needs to be done. Transgender people are not doing enough for transgender people. Gay and lesbians are not doing enough for transgender people. They put the bumper sticker on their car and then they say, what? My work here is done. Now, I have some test images for a pilot I'm trying to put together because I am that writer. And it occurred to me that even Grok is like, you're kind of onto something here. So why not just do that? Why not? As much as I dislike the entertainment business, I look to things like Netflix, Prime, HBO Max, all these major distributors that said, we'll create transgender characters, and if you can fit that role, you're hired. Where is transgender television? I'm just curious. I'm just curious. Where transgender movies? Where transgender writers? Where? Simba. I cannot resist. Anytime I say that, it comes out Simba. It's Simba, but I have fun with it. Are you in London, bro? I wish, because I probably would be swimming in manges, as opposed to the effing drought that I have to do. It's raining outside right now, but you wouldn't know because it's not raining men in here. That's for sure. Try as I can, um, with this outfit that shows off my man tits. Still, the men don't feel inclined to come and seduce me. I mean, I've got my pits, and nobody wants to sniff them. I'm highly upset. I'm highly upset. But I'm not really trying. I know on in a level that I should probably abandon everything and just fling myself at another country. I tried that. I did. I went to Canada and told them about all the struggles that I had. Told them that the government literally launched a woman at me on a train, taking me off the train. And Canada said, no, no, go back to America, in a way. So here I am in America after seeking refugee status somewhere else. And I've never been more disappointed. I wanted Canada to love me like I'm a hot pie, and Canada said no. Years of loving them from afar. And the one time I need them, not to, live there forever, but at least to put me in touch with an immigration lawyer, speak to a human rights lawyer, because the idea of transgender rights should be universal. It should be something that United Nations does more than lip service to. I love the United Nations Twitter feed. I'm sorry, X. When you switch ideals like that. Yeah, X. They constantly say you shouldn't live in fear and, love is love. Hashtag love is love at the free equal for the United Nations. They say that. They talk a good game. They really do. But why are we still dealing with hate crimes? I've dealt with two hate crimes recently, and I'm not looking to suffer another one. Can I just peel back the curtain for the left, the Democrats, the woke people about what goes on behind the scenes in some of these politics? Okay, good. I'd love to share for people. America is not a good place sometimes. It's good if you're one of these people, an actor or a writer, or someone embedded into the system, but you still have some privileges. You kind of a slave to it, but you have some privileges there. Linda Carter, 99 years old. Carol Burnett, doing fine. A lot of people are. I haven't really checked that. I should probably. Anyway, Linda Carter, 99. Let's just start there. Let's just start there. Okay, good. There's a lot of advantages to this thing, this lifestyle, this being an entertainer, being a part of that system. But what if you're not? Yesterday, I went to a store and I got food. Some people like to eat, whatever. Everything was kind of fine until some woman came into the store and immediately just started trying to talk to me. And I have my PTSD from military sexual trauma. So even though she was trying to give me a compliment, I still took it as it's an attack. It's a personal attack. It's a personal attack. Even though it's a compliment, because my brain is just hardwired to anytime a woman speaks that isn't a celebrity, I see it as a personal attack. Yay, United States Air Force for doing that to me. But as she was doing it that way, and by the way, she used her handicapped husband or something in order to do it at like I guess bait and run away, because she literally came in the door with him in his walker, blah 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 to me, and then just went outside. So I'm upset, and yet still I couldn't just quantify it as that's random, because nothing ever is on the West Coast at the very least. What was the subtext of all this? Because I guess I am that person. The food that I was purchasing, which was expensive but tasty, it's not real food. It's not good for me. It's not good for my body. It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be, but it isn't. And what is this except another biofeedback loop by a group of people who think that they have a psychology degree and constantly apply operant conditioning on good citizens? Nothing against that restaurant. The food in itself isn't inherently bad. It's just not the right food for me. And this scare tactic or whatever is trying to get me out of the loop, the loop of paying for food instead of cooking a meal. I still don't like it because I have my PTSD, so I'm not looking to hear a lecture. But the damage is done. At least let me talk about it. Transgender people are sometimes the most brilliant people in the room. They've had to pretty much live two lives, learn two languages, two sets of social cues at the very least. We should be doing more to protect our community. At the same time, America just isn't a good place for transgender people. By being a slight asshole about things, as a president is sometimes, he's also telling the truth. If you if you're a transgender person and you're coming to America for refugee status, think again, because Americans are transphobic. Americans hate trans people. And there is no real community here. Everyone puts a bumper sticker on, but there are no protests, really. There are no boycotts. I had to remove some content distributors because I said you're just not doing enough. I love all these companies, I really do. I used to consume media, but they're not doing enough. And I can't expect them to be more than they're willing to be. There was a cartoon that had a transgender kid, and they shied away from discussing it. They shied away from. If you were really watching it, I would be shocked because it was so fucking niche. But that kind of attitude of we will be your ally, but we don't want to talk about transgender kids. We don't want to talk about the fact that some people they awaken to a truth that's fundamental in all of us. And if we looked a little bit close, just a little bit closer, we would say, damn, I think there's a little bit more to transgender than just the gender affirming surgery. There's giving yourself permission to accept yourself, all of you. That's something that straight cisgender people, they struggle with. So peeling back the curtain on this ruling that President Trump has given, America is not a safe place for transgender people. Just like when Canada turned me away from its border, it hurt, but it lands me right where I was before, with the idea that if where you are offends you so much, it is on you to make the change, make the difference, make the community which you seem to be lacking. President Trump isn't blocking work visas for transgender actors or transgender construction workers, transgender doctors. He's literally just saying you can't be here illegally. And it may be a targeted population, but it starts a conversation. It really does, because transgender people, often like myself, say, I'm so uncomfortable, let me move to someplace else. Now, I hold Canada in the highest regard, but I don't know the people. They're just people. Maybe parts of Canada aren't as welcoming as I think they are. And that it might make more sense where I have all my rights as a citizen to build that community. I guess it comes down to real estate. I guess it comes down to commerce. Choose a transgender person to be your neighbor. Choose a transgender person to work in your company, work in your business. The example I give with ICE and naturalization services has always been I believe it was 60 Minutes, did an interview of a young, I want to say, Latina girl who was best in her class, knew the Pledge of Allegiance forward, backwards, standing on her head, just a patriot for a country that she just ended up in. They detained her, they detained her family, and said, get the fuck out. Liberals would love to say, oh my God, the humanity, you ripped a child out of school, blah, 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 blah. There are things you learn in American school that you wish you didn't. There's the system of white privilege that exists in America that is an iron blanket pushing you down. The food we eat, the air we breathe, everything comes with a certain taint in America. The surface level of that conversation is you're illegal, get the fuck out. The deeper part of that, the really, really deep part of that is you don't want to be trapped here in America. You don't want that. You don't want to, no offense to the company, eat Cheetos when you know that nutrition is legumes and gluten reduced bread. You don't you don't want to live in America. You want to retain your culture. Let's save you from that. Let's save you from eating those kind of foods, being salt addicted, being turned over for, sorry, passed over? I can never get the phrase right. Either way, you didn't get the joke because your last name was Gonzalez instead of Johnson. It hurts. It hurts to be denied entry into a country and a system and everything. But do you really want to swear allegiance to something that oppresses you, demeans you and your entire culture? Because that's what it means to live in America. This conversation that we need to have about ICE is also a conversation we need to have about what is this country that we live in? You want to rage at the president. You want to. I'm asking gay and lesbian people to simmer down now, to slow their roll, and maybe accept that you're part of the problem too. Every opportunity that transgender people need should be given by their fellow gay and lesbian allies, fellow straight allies. It's really easy to say transgender rights are human rights. Put that on a bumper sticker on your car. It's a lot harder to say, I have a transgender employee, or I have a transgender neighbor. You don't have to be friends with us. You don't have to smile at us and pretend. You don't have to do any of that. But if you think just a bumper sticker is enough, then you're the problem. Is that preferential? Whatever. You hire whoever you feel, who you feel. Who you feel. But just like there's a veteran point system, let's say, for federal jobs, maybe there needs to be a transgender point system where they say, okay, so your pronouns are, and how many languages do you speak? I speak over 10. And if I wasn't completely disabled and just damaged from several female sponsored attacks, I would probably go for federal job because then I'd be paid more. That's for sure. But these are the things you have to start talking about. If you're a gay doctor and you are, making money on money on money on money, how much is a work visa for a transgender refugee? I know that this ruling hurts people. It hurts people. It hurts people. Your feelings are hurt. You feel slightly afraid for your transgender mates. It's a lot. There's a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things. So I learned by trying to go to Canada for help. What you hear from the president is ICE is targeting transgender people, looking specifically for sex or gender as a way to determine eligibility for entry into the country and continued residence in the country. What you should hear is if you're a transgender person, your president wants you to have a job, have housing. You're welcome. Maybe that's not the message that you get, but that's the message. President Trump wants transgender people to have a job here in America, have a residence here in America, and have enough wealth to say fuck you to all the transphobes by no longer being in the same circles, elevating themselves, respecting themselves. These Americans punched and kicked me and called me a faggot recently. I had been locked out of my own apartment at the time. I was on the streets. if I had more money, if I was in a different neighborhood, that wouldn't happen. If I had more community, that wouldn't happen. President Trump will certainly be remembered, that's for sure. But have you considered what happens afterwards? Where do you go from there? LGBTQ, wake up. If you want change, be the change. Be the hero of the story instead of just someone who reads it. My name is Ian Ileona. I'm a mutant. I'm a werewolf. One hell of a dilf. I'm an environmentalist. I'm a human rights activist. I should be an ambassador because the United Nations, they don't give a fuck about transgender people, about gay marriage, about gay rights. They don't care. The fancy, fancy, smart people who gather around and pretend to argue about these things but don't do anything. I hope to see you on the next podcast.